Should we consider moving to Kitchener or Guelph? That's one of the most common questions I do get asked from many of the buyers, especially the ones who are moving from outside of the Waterloo region. And understandably, it is a fair question considering the fact that both these towns offer some great amenities with close proximity to Toronto and suburbs. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to do head-on comparison between Kitchener and Guelph on a few factors that could make any town a great place to live and raise a family or settle down for that matter. So stick around as I get right into it. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, eating, playing, sleeping, working in Kitchener, Cambridge and Waterloo, then subscribe below and tap on that bell for notification so you can be the first to learn about the current market in Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo and surrounding towns. My name is Dharmik Dixit. I'm a local real estate agent serving Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo and surrounding areas. I do get calls, texts, emails from people just like you every single day who are looking for help in making their move to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, and I absolutely love it. So whether you're thinking of moving in 9 days or 90 days, be sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or you can schedule a Zoom call. All the info right in the description below. I'll be more than happy to help you make a smooth move to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, and surrounding towns. Let's talk about the location. So as we know, both these towns have great location offering close proximity to Toronto and suburbs. But at the same time, I do gotta give this point to Guelph considering the fact that living in Guelph, you will be definitely a little bit closer to Toronto and suburbs. Accessing those major towns will be a little bit easier living in Guelph compared to Kitchener. You're probably looking at about an extra 20 to 25 minutes of commute each way living in Kitchener versus living in Guelph. I mean, although Guelph does not have almost direct access to Highway 401, you do have to access it through the Highway 6 going both ways in and out of Guelph. But at the same time, overall proximity to the Toronto and suburbs is definitely closer living in Guelph than living in Kitchener. Having said that, me and my family, we live in Kitchener. We still have friends and family visit often from time to time, traveling to Greater Toronto suburbs. It's really not that bad. It's just that if you do have to commute more often than usual, let's say you have to commute every day for work, or let's say you have to, visit friends or family or someone to look after on a regular basis, I can tell you, you would be definitely saving quite a bit of time commuting daily from Guelph versus Kitchener. So let's give this point to Guelph. Now let's talk about the cost of living between Kitchener and Guelph. If I were to go purely based on the numbers, there is a research website called numbeo.com, and based on that, an average cost of living here in Kitchener is around $1,900 per month, and in Guelph is around $2,000 per month. As you can see, these are the averages, and obviously there is more than the numbers itself that we should pay attention to. If you want to really get granular about how much it actually costs to live in Kitchener, I've done a video about the cost of living in Kitchener, so be sure to check it out. But coming back to my point about cost of living, as we know, both these towns are actually located outside of the Toronto area, so they're not like form part of the major GTA suburbs. So cost of living is gonna be for the most part very identical. Bag of milk or dining at a casual restaurant is not going to be much different between whether you dine in Kitchener or Guelph, or whether you buy a bag of milk or a can of beer in Kitchener versus Guelph. So it's going to be very identical. There is a caveat to this though, and which I'm going to cover later part of this video. When you get to the real estate comparison between the two towns, it could make a material difference to your cost of living. But for cost of living, we have a tie between Kitchener and Guelph. Talking about the jobs and the employment opportunities between the two towns. So let's talk about Guelph first. So if I were to look up primary industries where majority of the jobs are available in Guelph are manufacturing, agriculture is a big thing in Guelph. You have food innovation, and you have some jobs in technology, research and education, with University of Guelph being one of the major employers in the town. So that's a little bit about Guelph. Now let's talk about Kitchener. Being part of the Waterloo region as a whole has its own perks, and that's why Kitchener has an edge here because, in Kitchener, not just the tech sector is booming, and we have seen tremendous growth in the past years, and the job opportunities being created with the new employers and the startup ecosystem that is being built within the town and within the broader Waterloo region. So that gives an edge to Kitchener when it comes to the employment opportunities and the diversity of those jobs. It's not just the IT, but various other disciplines, jobs are being created here within the city and the Waterloo region. So I gotta give this point to Kitchener for the reasons I just stated. Now, when it comes to the future growth potential, as we know, both these towns in the recent past have experienced some tremendous growth that none of them actually saw coming. And even if I look at Guelph, I mean, if we look at the official plan for both the towns, there are lots of investments being made in the new real estate construction. There are new businesses being attracted to both the towns on a regular basis, jobs being created. Overall, if I look at the recent past, Kitchener has surpassed Guelph in terms of its growth in the recent past. Now, having said that, past is not always a reflection of future. I would say both these towns fare pretty well in terms of its growth potential. Guelph does have an advantage being close proximity to the Toronto area. So that does attract a lot more people or equal amount of people to Guelph as to Kitchener. Kitchener, on the other hand, being part of the Waterloo region, has an edge over Guelph to a certain extent. But I would say it's a very subjective matter, should be taken with a grain of salt. Both the towns offer pretty great development and growth potential. So if you when it comes to buying real estate in either of those towns, I would think future growth potential should not necessarily be the key point for you, because I would say both these towns do offer some promising opportunities when it comes to the future growth potential. So we have a tie here when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to things to do out and about, entertainment and recreation, both the towns of Kitchener and Guelph offer plenty of options. Let's talk about Guelph first. So we have the Guelph Jazz Festival, which is a notable one, attracting visitors from actually out of the region, number of visitors every year, and it's definitely worth checking out. But even besides that, there are plenty of things to do out and about in the nature, being home to several conservation areas. Even around Guelph, if you see within the Wellington region and out and about, within a short distance, you will have Fergus, Elmira. These are the towns worth checking out if you want to enjoy the outdoor natures. But at the same time, Guelph is home to several local breweries and restaurants throughout the town. So definitely you will enjoy and indulge yourself. Residents in Guelph do enjoy hyper-local breweries and the dining options that are located within the town. Now, talking about Kitchener, Kitchener is home to the Oktoberfest, which is actually the largest Bavarian festival that happens outside of Germany, attracting close to 700,000 visitors every year. So that does speak to the grandeur of this festival. But even besides that, Kitchener is home to some great restaurants, shopping options. We have Fairview Park Mall, which is decent enough to get you everything you need on your day-to-day basis. But even besides that, when it comes to dining options, not just within Kitchener, but within a close proximity to Waterloo, let's say uptown or university area, plethora of dining options. You will find whatever your cuisine you are into, like Italian, Korean. There's a Korean dessert spot we're checking out. It's called the Bingsu. So I'm all about food, but I can tell you, living in Kitchener, you will find plenty of options when it comes to things to do, dining options, shopping options, and even in the nature, like we have here on natural area. There's lots of conservation areas along the banks of Grand River. So even if you're an outdoor enthusiast, I can assure you, living in Kitchener, you'll find plenty of things to do. The winner here overall, if I look at the overall access to this, things to do, Kitchener definitely will give you more options in comparison to Guelph. So I gotta give this point to Kitchener. When it comes to access to education, both towns do fare pretty well when it comes to the public schooling system. I mean, in both Kitchener and Guelph, you'll have some great options for both the elementary and the secondary school. Now, when it comes to the higher education, as we know, Guelph is home to the University of Guelph, offering programs in various disciplines, particularly in agriculture field. It's very well known for, as well as the research and innovation. But living in Kitchener, Kitchener is home to what's called Conestoga College Doon campus, which is apparently the largest campus of the college, and offering programs in diploma, degree programs in various disciplines. But living in Kitchener, you could access easily, you could have kids going and commuting to University of Waterloo, Wilfrid Laurier University. So, the options are more, although those universities are not located in Kitchener. But like I said, the way the public transit network is connected within the region, living in Kitchener, you could send your kids attending one of those universities I mentioned. So The options in terms of access to higher educations are more in Kitchener versus Guelph. So the point here, when it comes to access to education, has to go to Kitchener. Now let's talk about the public transit network between Kitchener and Guelph. So talking about Guelph, within the city, it is governed by the Guelph Transit, which runs throughout the cities, especially around the university areas and some of those bustling areas. The accessibility is pretty good. You should be able to get by using the public transit system. Now, even within regional routes or intercity routes, you do have Guelph GO station, which is a central station, and the GO train does run through it. So if you have to still commute outside of the city using public transit, it won't be that bad. Talking about Kitchener, and I'll tell why it does have an edge here. Back in 2000, they formed Grand River Transit, merging Kitchener, Cambridge, and Waterloo transit network. Now, that did actually allow for better connectivity and better investment into the transit system, not just for Kitchener, but for the Waterloo region. Now, recent introduction of LRT system back in 2019 made it even better. So now we have faster transit network, better connectivity, better frequency, and it's more reliable. So overall accessibility of public transit network between Kitchener and Guelph, Kitchener does have an edge because of the fact that it is merged and overall part of the GRT system, making it a better transit network compared to Guelph. And finally, let's look at the real estate trends and the prices between these two towns. And for this, we are going to look at the quarterly number comparison. I don't like to necessarily always look at the monthly numbers. The reason being, fluctuations month over month could actually vary quite significantly and oftentimes may not reflect a true picture of what those price trends are. So we're going to look at a period of second quarter of 2023. An average price of a condo apartment here in Kitchener was around $463,000 versus in Guelph, that was around $560,000 for the same quarter of 2023. Looking at the townhome prices, an average price of a townhome here in Kitchener, second quarter of 2023 was $655,000. Same thing in Guelph, an average price of a townhome was around $765,000. Now comparing the same, let's look at the detached home prices. In Kitchener, an average price of a detached home in second quarter of 2023 was around $880,000 versus in Guelph, for the same quarter, an average price of a detached home was around $990,000. So if you look at these numbers closely, you will note that there's about more or less $100,000 difference between the prices in Kitchener versus Guelph. So that's where I said earlier about the cost of living. Let's say, and again, these are average numbers, but let's say if you go by this, by spending on an average $100,000 more on a real estate purchase between Kitchener and Guelph, that could materially change your cost of living depending on which town you picked to and choose to live in. So keep that in mind. I have included the link below to both these reports from which I fetched this data from Canadian Real Estate Association. So feel free to check it out yourself. But when it comes to the prices and the real estate trends, Kitchener is a winner mainly for the fact that you get more value for the money you spend in the real estate, while the upside potential is equally great. So there you have it, the apple-to-apple comparison between these two great towns. If I go purely based on the factors we just compared, Kitchener is a clear winner here. But hey, both these towns offer abundance of amenities, making both of them a great place to live, raise a family, or even settle down. At the end of the day, your individual lifestyle should be the one to decide which town to move into. But hey, whether it's Kitchener, Guelph, or any other town around that, I'm here to help. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or schedule a Zoom call. All the info right below in the description. I'll be more than happy to help you make a smooth move to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, and surrounding areas. Until next time, well, I do hope to show you around town.